Becoming aware of our pain and our suffering, actually turning towards it instead of running away from it, we feel just how much it hurts. If we can lean in and stay with the discomfort, if we can embrace our experience with a soft heart, with kindness, we discover something remarkable, that the way out is through.
To me, self-compassion really starts with a recognition of my own suffering. But then that recognition of my own suffering gets extended out into this awareness that I'm not alone, that the ways in which I'm suffering is actually being experienced by hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of people at a time, right? And that can really produce a softening of the heart when we no longer feel isolated in our feeling of suffering. And then that can lead to an inquiry around, well, what do I need?
In our work, we try to teach people how to integrate all that they are in the midst of the difficult work that they have, to have the feelings that they have and be aware of the needs they might have, even as they're caring for the needs of others.
My name is Krista Gregory, and I teach self-compassion and resilience to healthcare professionals in Austin, Texas.
We were founded about 5 years ago to work exclusively with healthcare providers who are working at the bedside in the middle of the trauma, in the middle of the stress that we see in our world today in healthcare. And we are now reaching over 3,000 healthcare professionals across the globe. We use a lot of different terms in healthcare because sometimes healthcare professionals can be very resistant to words like self-compassion or mindfulness or meditation. So we come at it from a very different perspective. But that's essentially what it's all about, is how can I value myself such that as I come into this presence with you in caring for you in a healthcare setting, that my strength becomes yours and vice versa.
It's much easier for us to have compassion for others than ourselves. The idea of having compassion for others is something that's valued in society. No one ever tells us growing up that it's good to have self-compassion. Now, when your best friend fails or makes a mistake, you don't feel personally threatened, right? So you don't necessarily go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. Instead, you go into what's called the care mode. Another evolved physiological system is caring for others. But it evolved primarily for other people, right? So that parents would take care of their infants, so that group members would take care of each other. So we're doing a little bit of a hack with self-compassion, right? We're taking this thing that feels quite natural to do for others, and we're making a U-turn and using the skill with ourselves.
Bye, thank you. I believe that I wanted to spread joy at an early age.
Do you want me to put it in the house?
My mom was always like that. So putting myself first, I still honestly don't know how to do that. But when I see somebody smile, or if I do something that makes them happy, then I get so much more joy. And I think that's where it led me to become a police officer. I was very compassionate in any scene that I was in. But the longer you do the job, the more that it robs you of compassion. I think throughout the course of my career, I wanted to have compassion. I wanted to not forget that piece. And I think part of that was because I maybe was trying to understand how to give it to myself. It was compassion fatigue. I didn't know what it meant then. I just thought, I can't do this job anymore, and I didn't know why.
We have a drawing that we show that has the person that we have, it has someone in a hole, and they're down there by themselves. And what most of us were taught to do is see, oh, there's a suffering person. I'm coming. And we jump down in the hole with them. Oh, I'm here to help you with your suffering. And then I say, as we're looking at this image in the class, like, how are you supposed to get out of the hole? Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, I know, right? Like, there's no ladder. It's not like you threw a rope down. You're just down there because you saw him suffering, so you jumped in. And that's what we do. That's what we taught each other to do. But now you can't get out.
It really does affect our patients if we're not in tune with this stuff. So if you need convincing, because I think a lot of times people that work at the bedside, they're like, my patients are number one. It really doesn't matter as long as I take care of them. But if I can convince you that it's going to hurt them in some way for you not to do this, that might be your motivator. So staying in touch with your humanity in the presence of your patients really fosters connection with them.
What happens in healthcare oftentimes is that we deny our humanity, whether it be our physical humanity, going to the bathroom, eating food, taking a break, or our emotional part of who we are as humans. So if I can look at you for 2 seconds, if we're standing, for example, over the bed of someone with COVID that's dying and it's horrific and I'm sad, and I can look across the bed at another nurse or another colleague and we just, that's all we do. I don't even say anything to you. It makes it better for me and you and the family and even the patient. It's the people that are in the midst of the experience with them that get it. And if those people can feel with them, then the isolation goes down. The sense of common humanity, one of the principles of self-compassion, becomes actualized in front of you because they connect as real people. It's strange. Why would we not have always been doing that? But we haven't. Because to do that feels vulnerable. It feels weak. And what I try to teach folks, including myself, is that in that vulnerability is our strength. In that vulnerability, I'm able now to be even clearer about why I'm there and what I'm doing with that patient, because they're a human just like me.
Empathy transforms into compassion when we say, you know what, let's all get free from this. Like, I want to get free from this discomfort. I want all other beings to get free from this discomfort. And I begin to ask myself, okay, what can I do to free all of us? So when we're self-compassionate, I think that helps us to develop a kind of tenderness, softness. So when I am in relationship to my suffering, then I'm not fighting it, I'm not pushing it away, right? And it helps me to ease into the experience of the suffering that I'm experiencing, right? And so when I begin to think about others and their suffering, I understand perhaps, right, the ways in which they're pushing away or running away from their own discomfort.
We do a lot to get away from that feeling. We go on relentless, lifelong self-improvement projects. We're always trying to improve ourselves. We stay really busy. You know, we're trying to check things off the list to in some way get ourselves out of the red. For many people, there's all sorts of addictive behaviors, numbing ourselves so that we don't have to feel what's there, or, being workaholism, just staying completely immersed in our work. We do a lot to run away from that pain. The challenge most of us run into is to directly face the pain where it is in our bodies with real mindfulness and compassion.
No, I know you're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
When I started practicing law, the vision that I had for success was very oriented around financial sustainability for myself and making partner at my law firm. I was easily doing 80 to 90-hour weeks of billable work, and I just would power and push through. And like in the blink of an eye, 6 years go by. And then I had a temper tantrum one night in front of the kids. Got like locked into a place of anger and sadness, and really was very hard to unwind, like the kind of tantrum that lasts for hours. And it snowballed on itself because that voice got so mad at me for the tantrum. And I didn't want that ever to happen again. So for me, the turning point was the moment that I saw myself channel what felt to me to be very much my father. And I knew that just could never happen.
Scary stuff to go in there and look at your jealousy and your trauma, and we think it's gonna take us down. We think we're never gonna get off the couch. We're not gonna be able to work again, and who's gonna love us and how I'm gonna function. But this speaks to the abiding nature of compassion and love. It's like you would go in and you would get someone you love out of the dark. We would run into that burning building. You've got to go into the depths for yourself, and you will find your whole self there.
With self-compassion, it allows us to be in contact with the pain in a spacious way, in a loving way that actually allows this healing process to occur. Having said this, we don't want to think that somehow now I'm supposed to always turn toward my pain. We also want to have compassion for the fact that it's hard. Sometimes, for instance, if you have a trauma history, it can be too overwhelming to open to your pain.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily life classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way your way.